Jörmungandr, a dragon serpent so massive that it wraps around the entire planet Earth and bites its own tail. Norse mythology describes it encircling Midgard, the human world, in the ocean depths. When it releases its tail, that action triggers Ragnarok, the apocalyptic end of everything. Born as one of Loki's three monstrous children, the serpent was thrown into the ocean by Odin as an infant. The god hoped it would drown. Instead, it grew. It grew so large that it eventually stretched across the entire circumference of the earth and had enough length left over to bite down on its own tail. Thor once unknowingly tried to lift it when a giant disguised it as a cat. He raised only one paw off the ground. That feat alone nearly lifted the beast into the sky. The prophecy states that when the dragon serpent finally lets go of its tail and rises from the ocean, it will poison the sky itself, causing the seas to flood the land. During Ragnarok, Thor will kill it. The details are brutally specific. After delivering the killing blow with his hammer, Thor will walk exactly 9 steps before dropping dead from its venom. The venom is so lethal that even after death it kills a god. But ending the world once wasn't enough for some dragons. The next one tries to destroy everything every single night. Apophis, a dragon serpent so massive that ancient Egyptians described it stretching across the entire underworld. It attempts to devour the sun god Ra every single night without fail. This nightly apocalypse has been happening since the beginning of creation. Every sunset, Ra's solar boat descends into the underworld. The dragon serpent attacks, attempting to swallow the sun whole. Success would plunge the world into permanent darkness. The creature possesses a hypnotic gaze that can paralyze gods. Its roar alone causes the underworld to rumble and shake. It attempts to trap Ra's boat by coiling its massive body around it like a sandbank. It floods the underworld waters to overwhelm the vessel. Solar eclipses were believed to be the moments when the dragon serpent actually succeeded in swallowing the sun. It temporarily achieved its goal before the gods could force it to release its grip. The creature cannot be permanently killed. Every single night, Ra and his defenders, including the god set, battle and defeat it. But by the next evening, it resurrects completely, ready to attack again. This cycle has repeated every night since creation began. Ancient Egyptians performed elaborate rituals to help Ra survive. They created wax models of the dragon serpent. They spat on them, stabbed them, and burned them while reciting protective spells. They genuinely believed their actions each night helped prevent eternal darkness. While this dragon attacks the same target endlessly, another has spent eternity gnawing on something far more fundamental. Nidhogg, a dragon that gnaws on the roots of Yggdrasil, the world tree that holds all 9 realms of Norse reality together. The dragon actively tries to chew through the foundations of existence itself. The tree's roots are the only thing preventing total cosmic collapse. The dragon has been relentlessly gnawing at them since the beginning of time. It slowly weakens the structure that keeps reality from falling back into primordial chaos. Its name translates to malice striker or curse striker. While gnawing the tree's roots, it simultaneously chews on the corpses of murderers, adulterers, and oath breakers who end up in Nastrond, the worst section of the Norse underworld. A squirrel named Ratatoskr runs up and down the tree carrying insults between the dragon at the roots and a wise eagle at the top. This fuels their hatred for each other. Their constant tension causes both creatures to attack Yggdrasil in fury, damaging it further. When Ragnarok arrives, the dragon will have gnawed through enough of the roots that the world tree begins to yellow and die. One passage describes it breaking free and flying up from the underworld, carrying corpses on its back. Accounts of its ultimate fate vary among the sources. From destroying the foundations of reality, we move to a dragon with an appetite for something in the sky itself. Bakunawa, a dragon serpent that ate 6 out of 7 moons that once lit up the night sky. According to Philippine mythology, the supreme god Bathala created 7 moons to illuminate each night of the week, making every evening brilliantly bright. The dragon serpent, living in the pitch-black depths of the ocean, became obsessed with their beauty and decided it needed to possess them all. It rose from the sea and began swallowing entire moons whole, one by one. Each time it devoured a moon, massive earthquakes shook the land as the dragon serpent lunged into the sky. The moons would melt away inside its body like candle wax, but never satisfied it. Enraged, it kept eating moon after moon until only one remained. Ancient Filipinos realized that if this last moon disappeared, the world would be cast into eternal darkness. When the dragon serpent came for the seventh and final moon, the people ran to the shores banging pots, pans, drums, and anything that made noise. They screamed, "Return our moon!" The sudden cacophony startled the creature so badly that it spat out the moon just as it was about to swallow it completely. To this day, lunar eclipses are believed to be the dragon serpent's continued attempts to finish what it started. It will never stop trying to eat that last moon. Speaking of insatiable appetites, the next dragon had 8 mouths to feed and a taste for young women. Yamada no Orochi, an 8-headed, 8-tailed dragon serpent so enormous that its body stretched across 8 valleys and 8 hills simultaneously. Each of its heads had blood-red eyes. Its back was covered in moss and trees because it was large enough for entire forests to grow on it. For years, it terrorized the land by devouring young women. It had already eaten 7 daughters from one family and was coming back for the 8th. The storm god Susanoo devised a plan. He had the family brew 8 gigantic barrels of sake, the strongest rice wine possible. They placed them on 8 separate platforms. When the dragon serpent arrived, each of its 8 heads found a barrel and drank deeply. The creature became completely intoxicated. All 8 heads drank simultaneously. It passed out in a stupor, sprawled across the landscape. Susanoo seized the moment and began hacking the monster apart while it was unconscious. As he sliced through its tails, his sword struck something impossibly hard, hidden inside the 4th tail. When he cut it open, he discovered the legendary Kusanagi no Tsurugi. This was one of Japan's 3 imperial regalia swords. The creature had apparently swallowed this sacred sword at some point. It remained lodged in its tail. Not all dragons were born monsters. Some chose to become them. Fafnir, a dragon that was originally a dwarf. Specifically, a dwarf who murdered his own father for gold. This dragon was not born as a monster. It became monstrous through pure greed. After killing his father, Hreidmar to claim a cursed treasure hoard, including the ring and Varanaut, his obsession with the gold became so consuming that his body physically transformed into a dragon. His humanity dissolved entirely, replaced by scales, venom, and an insatiable need to guard his treasure. He crawled to a desolate heath called Gnida Heath and coiled around his gold. He breathed poison into the surrounding land until nothing could live there. The venom was so potent that it created a terror helm. Anyone who approached would be overwhelmed with supernatural fear before they could even get close. He spent years lying on his hoard, growing larger and more serpentine. His dragon form became more permanent with each passing day. The curse on the gold meant that anyone who possessed it would meet a violent end. The hero Sigurd eventually dug a pit beneath the dragon's regular path and hid inside it. When the dragon slithered overhead to drink from a nearby river, Sigurd thrust his sword Grom upward into its soft underbelly. This was the only vulnerable spot on its armored body. As it died, the dragon actually spoke. It warned Sigurd that the gold was cursed and would destroy him too. Sigurd ignored the warning and took the treasure. The prophecy came true. The curse killed everyone who touched that gold. While greed corrupted this dragon from within, the next one proved nearly impossible to destroy. Zimei Gorinch, a 3-headed dragon from Slavic mythology. It could breathe fire from all 3 mouths simultaneously. It flew on enormous bat-like wings. It demanded tribute of young people to devour. Its scales were described as being harder than steel. It could regenerate from wounds almost instantly. The hero Dobrynya Nikitich fought the dragon multiple times. In their first battle, Dobrynya wounded it severely. The dragon begged for mercy, promising to stop attacking. They made a truce. The dragon immediately broke its word and kidnapped Dobrynya's own niece along with many others. It dragged them to its cave. Dobrynya tracked it down for a second battle that lasted 3 days and 3 nights of continuous combat. After Dobrynya finally killed it by cutting off all 3 heads, the dragon's blood refused to seep into the ground. A voice from heaven instructed Dobrynya to drive his spear into the earth and recite an incantation. Only then did the blood absorb into the ground. According to some versions, he had to throw the heads into different rivers and bury the bodies separately. The dragon's persistence made it one of the most formidable threats in Slavic legend. But even a regenerating 3-headed dragon pales in comparison to one that held the entire world hostage. Vritra, a dragon serpent so massive it swallowed all the water in the world and held it hostage inside its body. The creature did not just block a river. It drank every ocean, every river, every lake. It imprisoned all water within itself, causing a complete global drought. Nothing could grow. The world was dying of thirst while the dragon serpent coiled around mountains, keeping the waters trapped inside its enormous body. The gods themselves could not defeat it through normal means. They had to create a special weapon. They forged the Vajra, a divine thunderbolt, and gave it to the god Indra. The battle between Indra and the dragon serpent shook the foundations of reality. Indra destroyed the dragon serpent's 99 fortresses before delivering the final blow. When its corpse finally split open, all the waters of the world burst forth in a catastrophic flood. The waters refilled the rivers and oceans. The creature's name means enveloper, or coverer. This refers to how it enclosed and concealed the waters within itself. Its death and the subsequent release of water is described as the most important victory in Hindu mythology. Without it, all life would have permanently ended from drought. If you made it this far without getting eaten by a dragon, you might as well subscribe. The algorithm appreciates it, and unlike Bakunawa, I won't keep coming back to annoy you.